I wanted to do some videos that were doing up-close looks at a lot of the dimensions range from Tonic, which are obviously dies to create dimensional projects, so often gift boxes and things like that. I thought I'd start with the terrarium gift box, as I've actually just made my first few of them, as you can see off to the side. And the idea behind these videos is I'm going to do an up-close look and show you all the dies that come in the set, and then at the end of the video I'm going to and I'm going to show you examples too, but at the end of the video I'm going to show you the basic construction of the box as well, and I'm also going to use that same footage and create another video in my construction series, which is just putting together the box. So you can either come back and have all of the waffling beforehand, or if you've forgotten how to make it, you can just go back to the construction video if you'd rather. So this is the stunning terrarium box. This came out in the 17th birthday celebrations for Tonic's 17th birthday on Hochanda, and it's a gorgeous hexagonal box. It's really cleverly designed, and it's really fun to put together as well. So I'll go through the die set first. This is how I store my large Tonic die sets. I got these, I think they're called A4 zipper pouches from Wilko, and they're like 40p each, so I thought that's a pretty decent price to store your dies in. And I didn't trim this packaging down. Sometimes I trim the packaging down just so it fits in easier. And then I take an A4 piece of grey board and an A4 magnetic sheet, and I did trim the height of these a tiny bit just so I don't end up popping off that little zipper on the side when I take it in and out. And then I've put that inside. I am going to eventually stick the grey board to the magnet so that it does keep it rigid, so none of the dies fall off when I'm taking it in and out, but they're just separate at the moment, but they will be stuck eventually. So this is our enormous terrarium die set. Oh, on the back of the package too, it gives you some little bits of inspiration, showing you the open box down there, and how you can put together the different panels for the sides of them as well. So I try to always keep the packaging if I can, especially for the big die sets, because you can, you've got the information, you've got the product number, so if you can't get them all back on your magnetic sheet, you can put that product number in on the Tonic website, and they usually have an image of all the dies laid out, so you can work out how to get them back on your sheet as well, which is always helpful. So this is the enormous die set that we get. We get this big hexagonal piece. This is the base of the box, so for each box you will need to cut one of these. Then you get this piece with 3 long triangles on, and this creates the top of your box, so you'll need 2 of these because it's a hexagonal box and this cuts 3, so you need 6 sides. And then you get this piece, which attaches to the base of the box to create a place for the hexagonal cone to sit on top of the box, so you need 3 of these when you're cutting them out. And I'm pretty sure you can get all the pieces you need out of 2 sheets of A4, so they're quite an economical box to make, and they do feel really nice and sturdy as well when you've made them too. Then we have all these extra dies, so we've got 3 different kinds of outside cutting edge to decorate the cone part. I think you can see, yeah, these 2 here, they look like they're the same size, but when you look at them closely, this one's cutting edge is on the outside of the metal and that one's is on the inside. So you could actually, like, say, cut this out of gold mirror, cut that out of your like red card or something, and you'd have a tiny skinny gold mat around your red mat. And then you get this one, which has got dots in, so you could cut this one first and then place this one over the top and you'll get the dots around the edge of it. Or you could, say you wanted a few acetate panels in your lid, you cut this one out to create your aperture, and then you could cut this one to give you the perforation around the aperture as well. So it's actually really nice and versatile. Then pattern-wise, you've got this gorgeous flowery one. I haven't actually cut this one out yet, but it is gorgeous. Does it show it on the packaging? It doesn't actually show that one on the packaging. Well, it shows it here. It shows it on there. So that's what that one looks like. That is really nice, actually. It looks like it's got a kind of opening bluebell on it, like there. That's really good. And then you get this one, which I have used on one of my samples, and this one, I love that geometric anyway. I think I'm probably going to do some paper piecing with that, because you can multiply that out and create a whole background with it too. You don't have to just use it to decorate the boxes. And then this one is more of a Christmassy one, because you've got some holly leaves in there. Then, oh, and you've also got this one, which is another sort of flourishy design that cuts off at an angle, which is really nice. If I show you the back of the packaging again. So if you cut it with a triangle, you get this empty space here, which you can then stick your flowers to, or little holly leaves, or you could even stamp a sentiment on it. There's loads of different things that you can do with that little area. And it's just a cool design feature as well, actually. Then you get the panels to decorate the rest of the areas. So you've got 4 options for decorating the main hexagonal box piece. This piece, you can tell that those are the ones that go with it because they were sitting inside it. Again, on these 2 shapes, you've got one's the cutting edge on the outside and one's the cutting edge on the inside. And you've got the dotty one too, so you can do exactly the same as you did for the triangles to make them match. And you also have this one with a tiny scallop around the edge as well. And again, you've got designs that match. So this one's got a flower in, this one's got the same geometric pattern. This one is the same kind of holly sort of pattern. Oh no, that's the holly one. That's the holly pattern. That's the sort of more flourishy one that would go with the one that's got a sloping bottom. And then in that section you also get 2 little tags. This one says take a peek and this one says winter wishes, which are great little ones just to dangle from the box or use anywhere really. I really want to do a Halloween project that says take a peek and then like if you dare, but I haven't had enough time to do it. I'm hoping I'll get a chance to do it before Halloween, but anyway. Then you get 3 different ways to decorate the top section. So this is this part. If you're making the normal box, this does get hidden by the cone, so you only see this part when you take the top of the box off. So you can decide to decorate it or not, depending on what look you're going for. Again, oh no, that's different, isn't it? Do they? Yeah, they do mat inside each other, so you have the ability to do the larger one, a slightly smaller one, and an even smaller one on this one. And then you get this sort of damask-y design and 2 of the kind of holly designs as well. You also get 2 holly leaves. You get a lovely little more modern leaf with an outside cutting edge, and you get another modern leaf over here with the outside cutting edge. So you can do 2 different colours of cardstock, or you can do a colour of card and on vellum or something, or if you were more into your stamping, you could cut the leaf out of funky foam and stamp it onto the solid shape if you'd rather. You get a spiral flower as well, and then you get this large flower too, which cuts the intricate detail but also has the outside edge. So if you just wanted a sort of random, because it's not quite equal, but a random scalloped circle, that's quite a nice one to have as well. Oh, no, I'm not going to be able to get it back in the right place. Uh-oh. There we go. Yeah, so they're all the dies that you get in the set. I just thought it's nice to show you properly in detail the kind of dies you get. This is the thing I like to see when I'm thinking about getting a die set, or even if I've already got it and it's just upstairs but I'm thinking about an idea and I just want to watch a quick video to remind myself of what's in the die set while I'm thinking up ideas. I just thought it's a nice thing to do. Also, don't think you just have to use these to decorate the box. I know that's kind of an obvious thing to say, but sometimes people forget that. But these triangles, a DL card, perfect Christmas tree, and you could even, you could either cut that separately, colour it with your alcohol markers, or maybe you've got a background stamp that you want to use on it, or you can just use the intricate panels, especially the holly. Making that into a Christmas tree would look really nice. You could do a geometric Christmas tree with the geometric pattern as well. This one you could just use into your card to create just cool lines across your card, because if you cut it, well, it's not really a cutting die, it's more of a debossing die, but if you did it like that and then you flipped it and did it like that and then you did it like that again, you know, you get the diagonal lines all down your card, which would look nice in the little dotty pattern. Again, leaves and flowers you can use anywhere, and the little tags you can use anywhere, because you don't have to make them a tag. This one's really easy to just snip that little hole off. Yeah, so there's loads of different ways you can use this. You just gotta, I mean, if this is one of the only dimensional die sets you've got from Tonic, then it's all of their die sets are really versatile, so you can make the actual thing they're supposed to make, but then if you just keep thinking about it and mulling ideas over in your mind, there are loads of other ways that you can use them and create like tons of cards from them, as well as the 3D projects. Right, so that's all of the dies. I'm going to put these away now so none of them fall off and get lost. But, so, you know, you get all of those decorative panels, but you don't have to use them at all either. You could just use, I've done this on 2 of mine, I've just used all of the outside edges to create the main panel, and then I've used embossing folders to give me my pattern on the box. It saves quite a bit of time, because, you know, die cutting can take quite a while, especially when you've just got one of that design and you need to cut 6 of them, you know, or like, yeah, well, 6 of each really. It can take a little bit of time, so I'm going to show you that in my construction as well, but I'll move on to show you my examples that I've done. So this was the first one I ever made, which was 2 days ago, and I went for a really steampunk look. I really love the way this came out, actually. It looks so cool. And I've used the Nouveau expanding mousse on it, and I've also used the media dies as well. So I'll show you some of the bits and pieces. I'll show you in detail a bit more in a second. So when the terrarium die came out on Hochanda, they were doing, because it was their birthday, they were giving away a freebie. I can't remember which one came with the terrarium die, but if you got either of the You're Bloomin' Marvellous or Hello Petal, they've got just a plain circle tag as their outside piece, and that's what I've used as the gift tags on all of the ones I've made, actually. So that is what I've used to create that gift tag there. Then for this one, to create that really cool pattern on it that makes it look like sheet metal that's all bolted together, this 3D embossing folder from Tim Holtz. It hasn't got a name on it though, so I'm not sure what it's actually called, but it's one of these really, really thick ones, and I think how I got this to emboss using the tangerine, I just put the card inside this and then just ran it through on top of the orange plate, and it seemed to work fine, so that's how I did that. And then for all of the cog decoration, I used the media dies from Tonic, the steam cogs and widgets, and that cool chain I used as an element to make it look like the tag is hanging from that chain as well. And then the sentiment is one of the sentiment strip dies from Tonic. They've got 7 different ones to choose from. And I'll make sure to link everything below as well, so you don't have to remember anything. You can just check out the description and it should have everything in there. Yeah, I'm kind of skipping backwards and forwards in this, but anyway. So that was the products I used to make this one, and I used the expanding mousse in the mustard seed colour. So I embossed all of the pieces using the folder, and this was the Dark Roast Coffee Foundations card, and then I just came in and rubbed over some of the expanding mousse, and in some places I used a stencil. This is a woodware one, I think it's just called Cogs, just to add a little bit on a couple of the sides, and then obviously I heated that and puffed it up to give the really cool effect. And again, I added some of the mousse to some of these cogs to give them a little sort of rusty look, and this one's got the copper penny, just normal embellishment mousse on it as well. And so inside this box I decided to make it a chocolate orange holder. So we have a cute little chocolate orange which is all strapped inside. If I move that properly, then the little chains are supposed to keep it in place, which is really cool. So that's the little chocolate orange holder. I'm going to show you at the end how I created the insert for the chocolate orange to sit in, because I had a request to do that, and I've also done a different version which I'll show you in a minute too. But you just need some hexagon dies and circle dies to create the inside piece, and then obviously I've used the chains inside there to hold it in, and I've just added a few extra cogs and things too. And then it fits perfectly, a chocolate orange. If you do it this way, it fits perfectly. I did add foam tape at the bottom to create a more of a solid bottom because it was quite loose in this one. But in the other one, I didn't use any foam tape, so that's that. Then the other chocolate orange holder I've done is this one. I did use the panels from the die set for this one. The gorgeous geometric panel, I just cut it from gold mirror card all the way around, and if you look closely you can see on that red card in the background there's some glitter. This was the Fire Red Glitter Kiss, so I just got some on the applicator and swiped it across the card after I'd die cut all the pieces, just to give it a little bit of interest so it wasn't just plain card behind the patterned panel. Then if I show it all together, I used the matching panels to do the bottom, and again I've done the same thing with a bit of glitter kiss in the background. And then when you take it off, this one's chocolate orange sits up way more proudly, and I reckon this design would work really well for an Easter egg at Easter too. So this is how this one's chocolate orange sits in. And for these panels, instead of using any of the patterns, because there isn't a geometric pattern for this part of the die set, I decided to use the, I think it's called Simple Stripes embossing folder from Tonic, and so I just embossed them with a stripy pattern just to give it a different look, and I also embossed the hexagonal piece that I did with a stripy pattern too, and I did do an extra base as well just to make it look pretty on the inside too. Yeah, and I'll go through in a minute how I actually made all of these pieces. So that's that one with the chocolate orange sitting like that, and then the lid goes on, and then I've just done, oh that was, I don't know where that went now, there was another tag in there, never mind. This was a little birdie told me, so this is one that had sticky out parts on it, but I just did the red card with the glitter kiss in the background and the gold mirror card, and I've just put it on there for now. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to have that attached, but it's just sitting on the top of it for now. And then, if you watched the shows on Hochanda, you probably saw Jodie's creation. I think she'd done it a 3-tiered one, and then she'd put a bottle in it and said it needed to be an extra tier to make the bottle fit. So I decided to create one because I thought this might go down well on my stall at Christmas too. So we've got an enormous terrarium now. Believe me, this takes quite a long time to make, and which is why I cheated and didn't use any of the die cut panels, because you have to cut this piece here, you have to cut 21 times, and I was like, I am not cutting enough pieces to decorate that as well. So yeah, so I cheated for this one, and I ended up using, this is the magazine freebie off of, I think it's issue 166 of Papercraft Essentials, where you get this really nice embossing folder and the Merry Christmas sentiment. So again, I've done the same thing I was doing for the steampunk version, and I embossed all the pieces with the folder, but then for this one I used two different colours of the expanding mousse on this. I started out using the red leather and was quite heavy-handed with that, and then I took some of the Tuscan gold and I put it on a piece of cut and dry foam, and then I tried to drag this lightly across to like pick out the detail and not get too much in the background. But I think that gives a really nice rustic sort of traditional Christmas effect too. And then to finish this one off, around the edge of the bottom of this piece and around the dented in parts of the side of the box, I just ran like a bead of glue around it and then tipped on some Nouveau Pure Sheen glitter, and that one was light gold colour that I used. And then then I've created a tag in the same way that I've done the rest of the box, and I used one of the plain edged circle tags that they were giving away, and I've used the Merry Christmas die from that magazine freebie as well. Then I've used a couple of the holly leaves from the Terrarium Die Set, and I've also added in the little fern, the orange slice, there's a pine cone and the scroll, which are from, I can't remember the actual name, I haven't written it on my die set yet, but it's that wreath die that they've brought out recently. Tonic brought out for this Christmas, so I'll link that below as well. Yeah, so that's my look at all of the examples that I've created for these videos. Let me know if you find these useful and interesting as well. I know I haven't shown you the construction yet, but I'm hoping on doing this for a lot of the dimensions range from Tonic, all the ones that I've got, and I thought it would be nice to include a few samples, so I've kind of got to wait until I've made a few boxes before I can film the video. But I'm hoping that you'll enjoy this, so I'll see you in a second for the construction. Hello, so here's the construction for the Tonic Terrarium gift box die set. I'm going to show a couple of variations along the way as well, and I'm actually making one that is a proper finished one rather than just showing you the basic construction, but I'll skip out all the steps in between so I don't confuse you with the construction of it, you know, because I'm decorating it as well. But so to create the basic construction of the terrarium box as it's supposed to be made, you need two of these ones, you need one of this enormous one, and you need three of these ones. So this makes the generic terrarium box, which is depicted on the front of the packaging. If you wanted to make this into a chocolate orange holder, which is what I'm actually going to show you, and if you wanted it to be a chocolate orange holder that looks like this, which I'm making a silver version of, where the this part is recessed down into the bottom of the box, then you will also need two pieces that look like this. So you need a set of hexagon and circle dies. So this hexagon measures, I'll do it in centimetres, measures just over 7.5 centimetres, or just over 8.5, no, nearly 9 centimetres from point to point. One roughly that size. This is going to be the base inside the box. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly that size, because we're going to use foam tape to raise it up a bit so it sort of sits at about 1 centimetre up from the bottom of the box inside. And then this piece that you need is a hexagon that is 10 centimetres, or from point to point it's about 11.5 centimetres, and you want to use a 7 centimetre diameter circle to cut out this space, which is where the chocolate orange will sit inside. So that's what you need if you want to make a chocolate orange. So you need the basic things that I just said, and then to make a chocolate orange holder that looks like this, with this mechanism inside for it to sit in, you need what I just said. but if you wanted a chocolate orange holder that looks like this, then you will need this combination. This hexagon is, so you want to find a hexagon that is the same size as the base of the box, just so you can make an extra piece to put inside there just to finish it off. You don't need to have that though. And then this hexagon needs to be from across to cross, it's just over 8.5 centimeters, and from point to point it's 10 centimeters. And so this, you're going to create score lines around it, so it needs to be just a smidgen bigger than the actual top of the box, and that's how you create that. And the circle hole to cut is 6 centimeters. So you want a 6 centimeter diameter circle, and then a hexagon that's slightly bigger than the top of the assembled box and one of the base. And that creates the chocolate orange holder that looks like that, where you've got nothing supporting the bottom of the chocolate orange. It's sort of floating that proud out of the box. So in this video I'm going to show you the basic construction but with the added chocolate orange holder, but if you don't want that you just don't put it in and you follow the same instructions. I'm also thought I would just quickly show, if you don't want to die cut all of the pretty panels for the sides of the boxes like this, because that can take some time and you may be wanting to make one reasonably quickly, and or you're not in the mood for a lot of die cutting, you can use embossing folders to pattern your pieces. But I thought I would show you how you can get them to cover the whole thing. Like for this one, I'm using, I think this is like a A2 sized one, and obviously the whole thing doesn't fit in that. If you use a 6x6 one, it's pretty much perfect. But if you have smaller ones but you still want to use them, this is how you can get the perfect embossing on them. So, I'm not sure if this is the suggested method for using these folders, but because I'm using the tangerine and this is a Sizzix folder, I find that it works, because it's one of these really thick ones, it works just running it through on your orange cutting mat. So, first of all, we want to line up, so we've got the first triangle, we want to line up that with the side of where the folder ends. So if we line that up against that score line, then this part's sticking out, but that, well, actually if we move it down a little bit, it's all within it then. So we want to, I'll zoom out a bit. So we want to emboss it like that first, and run that through. Then, when we've got that half embossed, we want to line this score line up with this side of the embossing folder, and whoops, and then run that one through like that, and that covers the entire piece then. So I just thought I would give you that tip as well for how to get an embossing folder to cover the whole section. I want this to be a finished box in the end, rather than just putting together one to show you the construction. I'm going to now add my mousses and stuff to it. There will be an Arty Potential video showing you the full process behind this one, so you can watch that to find out exactly how I do it. But just to make this video a bit more concise and more of just the construction, I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera, so I'll be back in 1 second. So I've got my embellishment on all of my pieces now. All I did was add some grey matter Nouveau expanding mousse just with my finger all over it, and then I did do a little bit of stenciling and puffed up that as well. I did want to say too, you can get this entire box out of 2 sheets of A4, even if you're making the chocolate orange insert too. All of this was 2 pieces, so it's probably like more like 1.5 pieces if you don't do the chocolate orange holder as well. So it's a really like economical box, and you get a really sturdy result at the end as well. So we've got all of our pieces. I'll leave these out of the way just for now. So this is everything we need. And now we need to put the tape on. So you can use 6mm red liner tape, but these ones, this one down the side of the cone and the small ones on the base are quite narrow, so I'm using 3mm tape. And you want to use red line tape because it's nice and strong. I got this on Amazon, so I'll try and remember to link it down below. It was really, really reasonable. It had like 50 meters on it, so you know it's going to last for a lot of boxes. So you want to run the tape down the glue tabs on both of the half cone pieces, and then you want to add it to the bottom parts of each of the 3 sections here, as well as the little side tabs, because that's what holds all 3 of them together to create the hexagonal piece. I'll try and do this quickly for you so that it doesn't take up too much of your time. You can use wet glue for these as well. It just depends what you prefer really, but I don't mind that it grabs really quickly. I prefer that rather than having to sit there and hold it for a while, because you know, sometimes it shifts and then it's not in the right place and then it just gets annoying. And then on this one you want to just add your tape to this little section. I'll show you these up close in a second. Okay, so that's all our tape. So we've added it just, oh, you can see it quite well actually because it's red tape, just onto those little tabs on this one, on these 3 places on each 3 of these, and on that long side on the cone as well. So I'll show you the cone first. It's really simple to assemble. You just want to pull the tape off one. If I zoom in a tinsy bit, line them up corner to corner down here, hold that in place, and then go along the line and line them up and then press it down firmly. Then you want to go in and reinforce all the score lines. You might think you would lose these because you've embossed it all, but actually they stayed pretty well. I didn't find that I couldn't work out where the score lines were after embossing, so yeah, and I don't think it interferes too much. It might be a different matter if you were die cutting straight into these side panels. You might want to go down all the score lines with your scoreboard just to double check that they were all in the right places and everything. And then you want to score the one where the glue tab is as well. So you've now got your all your fold lines reinforced on this, and because this is 6-sided you can fold it in half to get the perfect alignment for putting this together. So if we fold that one down, take that tape off, line it up at the top of the cone this time, just pushing the pieces together so they line up nicely, and then press, and voila! Really, really easy to put the cone together. You probably noticed some of my bits of expanding mousse just popped off, but that does happen if you go round the corner. I quite like the look of the going round the corner bit, but it does occasionally pop off when you do that. But anyway, that is our top cone piece. Then, to assemble the bottom of the box, it's this piece, you want to reinforce all of these score lines. So all the ones that are around the bottom hexagon and all of these glue tab ones as well. I like to go around and do all of these first, like this. Then the way I like to do it, you might find a slightly different way that you prefer to do it. You might not want to take all the glue tabs off at once. I do because it's easier. So, and then unfold all of them, lay it down flat, then I pick off the red liner tape for all of the pieces of tape. And then we just simply go around, you put the glue tab behind that panel, make sure the top pieces are lining up nicely, and then just press it into place. So it's really, really easy. Just keep going around for all 6 of them. And there we have it. So that's the bottom of our box. Now if you're just doing the normal one, just ignore this next bit I'm telling you. So the normal one, you can just do that. If you want to do the chocolate orange, oh gosh, I'm flinging stuff everywhere. If you want to do the chocolate orange holder that looks like this, you can put the hexagon piece that's exactly the same size just to make the bottom look pretty if you want to. You don't have to. And if you want to make the chocolate orange box that I'm showing you how to make now, I'll show you in this one where it is. We're going to put that piece in down there. And we're going to use foam tape to do that, so it's raised up a bit inside the box so the chocolate orange doesn't sit so far down. Okay, so to do that, I'm using this foam tape, anything that's about 1 millimetre thick really, and to begin with I folded it in half. This is how I did my original one, so I'm just going to show you exactly the same way. I folded it in half and got about, how many centimetres is that? That's about 11 centimetres folded in half, right? Then I took, this is maybe 8 centimetres, and I made it triple thickness. So just sticking them all on top of each other. You can use whatever foam tape or foam pads you've got, it doesn't have to be anything special. And then I just chopped a long piece, this is the double one that I just did. I'm going to put one piece like that, and then I think we'll put a thicker piece. You're just basically trying to fill up the base a bit so that the chocolate orange has got somewhere to be supported by. So it just so happened this was how I did it in the beginning, so I thought I'd just show you this way. So that's double thickness down. And then we're going to use the triple thickness one, and for this I cut the long strip again. I put it the other way in the bottom, and then I just did a supporting piece on either side as well. We just want something to raise the bottom up. You could, I don't know, you could put scraps of card or something in there if you wanted to. You don't have to use foam tape. And then you just take this piece that we have coloured as well and just stick that in. It just makes it look pretty through the hole, and it just raises the bottom up slightly. I mean, looking from the side, we're probably, the bottom's now here rather than at the bottom. So that's that. Then we need the next part, which is this bit here. So for this, we want to take off this tape and place them all together. So we have all 3 pieces in one go, and all you do for this is you're just lining up with the score line to get them to be in the right place. Then we want to go round and fold all of the 6 sections like so, and we want to fold that glue tab that's there, and we want to fold these ones in as well so that they're pre-folded. It's easier to do it at this stage. Okay, so once we've got everything pre-folded, we then want to stick this together to create our hexagon section. So we're just going to take the tape off of that, and then you literally just line up the score line. There we go. So that's that. So that's now our top piece here. If you're making the normal box, this will just stick straight onto here just as it is. And obviously I will show you that in a second, but for the people who want to make the chocolate orange holder, you're now going to move on to this piece, and you need a scoreboard and a scoring tool, and you just want to line up the edge of the hexagon with your scoreboard and score at 5 millimeters or half centimetre. just the same, whoops, that was in the wrong place, just the same all the, whoa, I'm making a mess of this, all the way around the edge. Just one little score line all the way around the edge. This is what we're going to use to glue it inside so that it stays there nice and securely. And if you were going to make the other version where it's higher up, you're going to do exactly the same thing but with your smaller hexagon size. So it is exactly the same process, but you're just using a smaller hexagon for the other one. Then I want to reinforce the score lines we just made. Then you will notice on each of these corners, you can just about see it, where the fold lines have over like intersected, you've got a little diamond. So now you want to chop out all those little diamonds. This just makes it much neater and easier to glue it all in a second. Okay, so we've now got this piece, so we've got those little glue tabs all the way around the edge that are 5mm in from the edge of our die cut. Then we want to add our tape to these. Again, I'm using that 3mm one because it fits perfectly on a 5mm tab with a little bit of space around it. And for this, I am going to use wet glue as well, because we're going to place this up inside the other piece we just made. I want to be able to manoeuvre it, like if it does start to stick in the wrong place. So I'm going to peel off the backing for all of these pieces. And then use some glue and add that to the glue tabs as well, just on top of the tape. This just helps you still be able to move it around because this glue's wet before the red liner tape catches, if that makes any sense. I think it does. Okay, that's that. Then we want to carefully sort of fold these tabs just in backwards a little bit, just to make it easier to get this inside. So just carefully fold them backwards so it looks more like the smaller hexagon shape now. Then you want to take this piece that we just did and then turn this upside down and put it inside. And then you're just going to push that up as far as it goes, because it will stop at a certain point when the sloping hexagon becomes the same size as the smaller hexagon we just made from doing the score lines. And then you just push it into place. And there you have, it's just stuck in there, and there you've got that little recess that kind of makes it look even more steampunky and mechanically. But if you wanted this version, because for this one you would use a smaller hexagon, it would push right up to the top of the box and then just stick on, but it's exactly the same process. Then finally, if you're making the simple box, you need to listen to this part again. Finally, we want to get this inside to finish off the bottom of the box. So I like to do it 3 glue tabs at a time. So I'm going to take off the tape on 3 of them. You might want to do it only 2 at a time if this is the first time you've made it or something. But I've done it 3 at a time. And then so you just want to place this on, line up that first one where you've already taken, so the first one that you've taken the tape off of, and then just press it in place. Once it's in the right place, you just press it in place, and then move on to the next one you've already taken the tape off of, and the third one, and then just press them into place, and then just remove the backing off of these ones. If you wonder why I use scissors, it's because I bite my nails, so I can't pick the backing off. And also, this stuff's really staticky, but if you pick it off with scissors, it doesn't really stick to you too much. And these ones are great for it, the little mini snips too. So then we just want to stick the last 3 on. All I'm doing is lining it up and then pushing from the inside to get the tab to stick to the other part of the box. And there we have it. There's the bottom of our box, completely finished. We did the top earlier, and that's perfect like that too. And it fits on absolutely perfectly. And then all you've got to do now is decorate it. And I'm not going to show you the decoration, but yeah, I won't show you the actual decorating, but I'll probably put a photo of it at the end. And anyway, I'm going to make it look exactly like this one. It's just a silver version. But if you're curious about how I got the chains to work inside, I've already die cut them. And the great thing about using the media dies to cut all of the cogs and chains and things, because they're designed to cut thicker materials, you can cut multiples at once. So for this design I needed 3 chains because I'm using 2 inside and I'm using 1 on the outside to hold the tag onto. You can cut all 3 of them at once, so that's really helpful too. And so to do the inside piece and get the chains to look like this, they do tuck under as well. They just tuck in so it looks like it's properly being held in place. I just used some glue, and then I just took the last chain piece and just stuck it just there, and then the last chain section of another piece and stuck it just there. And then that's as simple as it is. And then once the chocolate orange is in, once the glue has dried and you put the chocolate orange in, those can just bow upwards and tuck under the other side, and that's how you can keep it inside. So that is how to make, it's the basic instruction of the terrarium box, plus showing you how you can make it into a chocolate orange holder, and 2 different designs of that. I also just wanted to mention, if you were watching the shows on her channel, you probably saw Jodie's wine bottle holder that she did. So to create this, you are going to need 1 of the big bottom pieces, 2 of the cone piece, just like for a regular box, but the smaller pieces, this one, that we used 3 for the original size box, but to create this one, you need 21 of these. And then, so this is the basic part of the normal box, but when you get onto this piece, this is then this piece rather than a bottom piece, and you're just putting it up the other way. And to get this to join together, I was just cutting, have I got another scrap of card? So I was just cutting a piece of card like this, about this wide, and then I was holding this up against one of these pieces, because we know it's going to be this side that the hinge is going to be for. So then I was cutting a straight edge against there, holding that up, and then cutting a straight edge against there, so it's roughly the same length. Then I was taking a piece of double-sided tape, just like that, and then folding this in half. I was using a scoreboard, but I've got too much stuff on my desk to bring it back up again. So I was folding it like that, and so then this piece, you're then going to have one of these, well, it's one of those up ways, and it's just holding it on then. I think that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not very good at explaining stuff. But so say this is the bottom of this box, and we want to put the next level on. If we were making the tall red one, it would be, you'd be using this piece, but you'd be using this side of the box. So you'd have your next pieces like this, and you'd be using that to secure it. This is, I did film this one, so it's going to be an arty potential video. I know there's no talking in them and it's just sped up, but you will be able to see the process, especially because I have to repeat that 3 times to get all of the height to it. So yeah, hopefully that will be up relatively soon as well. So I hope you enjoyed this, well, this construction of the box, showing you the the regular terrarium box, and then how to turn it into a chocolate orange holder as well, and also how to convert it into a really tall version too. So thank you for watching, and if you find this useful, can you let me know below, because I'm hoping to do this for a lot of the other Tonic die sets, but I want to make sure that they're definitely useful before I start spending hours making loads of videos. So thank you for watching, bye!